Welcome back, everyone, to the Washed Athlete Podcast. We just did a take without our microphones recording properly, so we are going to talk about some of the same stuff we talked about, but it'll definitely sound a little bit like we had just discussed it because we just did. If you're new around here, we're the Washed Athlete Podcast. We're a group of college kids living at the University of Pittsburgh, and we talk about sports pretty much anytime. We're also playing blackjack or we're playing poker this time around. But we're playing some card games on deck in pretty casual fashion. We're going to start off by talking about Nat Hackett, Sean Payton, and the Jets because Nat Hackett got reamed out pretty much by Sean Payton for no reason at all.
Well, some reason.
Yes. But there wasn't really a good reason. I mean, that guy's got a wife and kids, and he's happy playing with Aaron Rodgers over in New York or New Jersey.
I heard you about to say Green Bay.
New York, New Jersey.
It's just so weird to say now.
Yeah, that Aaron Rodgers is a Jet.
It's a difference, too, between, like, Green Bay, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere, versus, like, New York and, like, northern New Jersey, which is, like, a hot pocket of just, like, people and, like, density and media coverage.
Newark, New Jersey.
It's just a completely different area. It's, like, kind of weird to see him with all, like, the lights and cameras, but he's handling it well so far. There's nothing been, like, super strange that he's been doing. I mean, again, he tends the ayahuasca conventions every here and there, but that's typical Aaron Rodgers.
He's just a hippie that can throw the ball really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be real here.
But Sean Payton went after the Jets, and we were kind of saying in our other recording that we just really don't think that I don't think the Broncos are going to be that good. So to go after the Broncos to go after the Jets on Sean Payton's behalf, because, like, I don't know, I think you only go after them if you're slightly intimidated or you want to, like, say something like, I just don't know the point.
It honestly seems like Sean Payton was just salty that the Broncos weren't getting any coverage anymore and the Jets were getting a lot more.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, they have a bad offensive coordinator now, so I don't know why they're even doing anything. And it's like, dude, chill out, bro. No one's talking to you.
They're like all this, he's like all this Hard Knock stuff. And it's like, the Jets didn't choose to be on, they declined to be on Hard Knocks. And then they got chosen for it because the league can force them to do that.
Yeah, because the league's like, this is going to be really, really good media, so we're going to make you do this.
And then Sean Payton's like, look at them. They're winning the offseason. They're going on Hard Knocks.
They don't care about the regular season. They only care about winning the offseason.
They didn't want to be on Hard Knocks in the first place.
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers hates the media. He doesn't want to be on Hard Knocks. And he's like, look at them. They're having a great offseason, and we can't complain about this. And we talked about it before. They did not have that great of an offseason. They got Aaron Rodgers and some mid-receivers on the side to make Aaron Rodgers happy. And that's all they've done. Other than that, Sauce Gardner went to some kind of event with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers might have hooked a brother up, and that's all that happened.
Oh, yeah, they went to a Knicks game.
Yeah, they went to a Knicks game.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers gave Sauce a number, introduced him. That's all that happened.
Gave them in the alley-oop right there.
Yeah, and they're pretending like they're winning the offseason like crazy.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that, like, my take is that, like, Sean Payton is clearly just salty because the whole thing is, like, why wouldn't you try to win the offseason? Like, obviously you don't get anything out of it, but that's how you set yourself up for success. Like, you need to do as well as you can in the offseason so that way you're ready for the season. So it's like, obviously they're going to try to do their best to win the offseason. And yeah, there's going to be the media narrative surrounding, like, the New York market. It's going to be way more in your face. It's going to be way bigger than the Green Bay market and everything like that. But, like, at the end of the day, I don't know why you're getting upset with the fact that the Jets are having, like, a pretty good offseason, and you're like, oh, well, they're just focused on the offseason. They don't care about actually winning. It's like, well, how else would you win if not in the offseason? Like, that's where it starts.
And especially for a team, like, it's not like they're the Chiefs who just won a Super Bowl, the Eagles who just got there, the 49ers who were knocking on the door. Like, they were not a good team last year.
Yeah.
And so you need to get better. The Broncos, on the other hand, haven't done anything. So I would say, besides from getting Sean Payton, they are a bad team that did nothing. They are losing the offseason. They're actively not making themselves better. They're hoping that Russell Wilson's better and that some of their coaching is better. But does the coaching account for all those games in a tough conference?
Who's their running back?
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. Yeah, I think he's back from an injury.
He is, but who knows what he's going to be off that.
Receivers are
Jerry
Judy,
Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick just went down with an injury.
Fant, the tight end, I think.
Noah Fant. Like, the Broncos.
Seahawks now.
No, Fant's on the Seahawks now.
Yeah. He was in the trade. Forgot about that.
And the Broncos don't have a bad roster. Like, I wouldn't be shocked.
Their defense is really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they, like, I don't think anyone would be shocked if they snuck into the wild card game, but I don't think anyone thinks they're winning a division.
No shot.
And so they're fighting for 2 and 3 in the division, and when you're in that type of position, and I think the AFC East is way more open for Green Bay to win it than
Nope.
Jets.
Jets.
You said Green Bay.
It's gonna be a minute.
The New York Packers.
Yeah. When the New York
Basically.
Packers,
Yes.
I think they have a lot more chance to win the AFC East. I'm not super high on the Jets, but I think they have a better chance to win that division than the Broncos do beating out the Chargers or the Chiefs for the division.
Yeah.
So I think just for Sean Payton to even take the shots, it's going to end up on freezing cold takes.
Yep.
And we're all going to laugh at the end of the year when the Broncos miss the playoff or get bounced in the first round. And we're like, you talked all that for nothing. It doesn't even matter if the Jets miss the playoffs. Like, Sean Payton has put the team in a position where they need to perform well, and they didn't next year, and we don't know about their quarterback. Like, Russell Wilson has not been good for 2 years. He's been is cringy for 2 years, and now they're coming in and expecting him to be the person to like move the franchise up to playoff contention, and he hasn't done that in a really long time.
No,
I don't hate Russell Wilson,
no,
but he hasn't been good, and they're saying that the Packers care too much about the offseason because they got a good quarterback. Meanwhile, their quarterback
Wrong team again.
has done.
No, it's the New York Packers. It's fine.
New York Packers.
It's fine.
Say it with me. Aaron Rodgers is
He's
a New York Jet.
Green Bay Packer.
Green Bay Packers.
He's brainwashed.
Green Bay Jets.
Green Bay Jets. There you go.
But yeah, I
Philadelphia
don't think
Cowboys.
it's going to end up well. And they played the game last night, which I don't think anyone cares about preseason. Like, there's nothing worse than preseason.
It's
football,
not even. It's Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like there is zero stakes.
which actually makes me kind of sad for like the people in the Hall of Fame, like that.
They watch the
this-
worst game of the
that
year.
this is the game dedicated towards like their accomplishment, and it's this dude from UCLA who was getting hype after throwing 62 yards
Hey,
of total
hey,
offense.
Let's not disrespect Zacharias Wilson out here.
No.
that
This is
was the
this
Browns
is
game.
a
I
UC
know, I know.
yeah, the Browns quarterback from UCLA. I
The
don't
dude,
know his
he
name.
threw DFR, DTR, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He was the guy who threw the fit in the Sun Bowl against us and tried fighting like cancer.
Oh, yeah, I
by,
remember
by
that.
us, Raj means Pitt
Yes.
on Pitt football.
Where Pat Saul had like 5 for 5 from field goals
Yeah.
and won the game.
Hit the game. Patty drove us down with 20 seconds left to hit that game winner. Great game.
Hype. Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got like these like Zach Wilson plays like 6 snaps of football or gets
he had 5 passes.
he had 5
He was
passes.
3 for 5.
Yeah, come on.
3 for 5. And then so like at least you could be like, okay, you know what, Zach Wilson, he's kind of interesting. He's had a little bit of an offseason with Aaron Rodgers. Let's see him play. Throws the ball 5 times. Then
And immediately get subbed out.
yeah, you have the Browns backup quarterback in the game. Deshaun Watson doesn't even step on the field.
No.
And this is the game that we get.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't even think you should have preseason football then, because no one's actually taking like serious reps.
Oh,
Yeah.
never.
Aaron Rodgers isn't taking reps with his new players. Garrett Wilson isn't playing. Like, there's just no stakes at all. Like, if you're the Eagles or the Chiefs, right, and you have a preseason game, which they will have, you have no incentive to play anybody. So why even have the game?
Yeah.
At least with basketball, people will get run for 5-10 minutes, get out on the court, play
It's a
game
lot
speed
easier to
little
play
bit.
pickup basketball than
Yeah.
football.
This is the problem we talk about with the Pro Bowl too, where it's like people don't want to get hit and take hits in a game that doesn't mean anything,
Mhm.
and that's how I feel about the preseason. Just get rid of it.
Well, the preseason I feel like makes a little bit of sense because I feel like the preseason isn't necessarily for the starters. It's for like the 53-man roster and the
I would
people that
agree.
are never going to see the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But it does really suck whenever people like pay money to go out and watch a preseason game and it is just the worst football you've ever seen. It like literally looks like a high school game out there. Like that does suck. But I mean, you kind of know what you're going into with a preseason game at that point. It's like obviously it's not going to be.
Seeing Kenny last year was electric.
That was pretty cool. Watching him on the field.
when you do have like players that you're looking out for and you like
Mhm.
want them to do well,
Mhm.
it does become a lot more interesting. Like even last night, I sent a picture to our group chat that Izzy Abanikanda, who plays for the Jets, he went to Pitt. He was a running back. He's been a running back since we've been here. So it's cool kind of seeing him on the field a little bit. Like, hey, that's
our guy.
But besides having like own personal rooting interests, there's not much of a reason to watch. I'm not going to watch Eagles football, even though I'm an Eagles preseason football, even though I'm an Eagles fan, because they're not going to tell me anything.
Yeah.
Like there's a few interesting players, but if they do something cool, I'll see a highlight on
Yeah.
Instagram or YouTube or whatnot. So
I feel like this is more for those teams that just drafted their rookie QB, who's definitely starting. The CJ Stroud, the
CJ
Bryce
Stroud, the
Youngs.
Bryce Youngs. Hell, they might not even play them. They might not.
I
play
feel
that's
them
what I'm
for
saying.
a
Like
little
I'm not
Yeah.
even confident they're going to play
I
those
mean,
guys.
most teams in the preseason at least have the first drive of the
bit.
season.
Oh no! They
They'll
they
run
will
the
play
starters.
a little bit, but like,
Not the
they
whole
won't
time.
play a lot.
They'll have one drive, maybe two, and then they'll never see the field again
But
preseason.
by even one drive, it's like, okay, you have a one drive of scripted plays. You're not going off of those plays. You're not making audibles. Literally, the coach is just going to say, follow this exact plan and go down the field. And they're not even playing against pro defenses.
No.
And no matter what they do, if they do great, everyone's going to be like, oh, it's preseason. If they
Who
do
cares?
bad,
Yeah.
everyone's going to be like, they can't even throw against
why
bums.
why am I even here?
So there's a lose-lose situation. So I'm not a big fan of NFL preseason, but I don't really feel like it's a hot take.
I want the season to start.
I want the season to
I'm
start.
so
It's going to be
excited,
really
man.
fun, and we'll probably do a bigger preview as it gets closer. We talked about that a little bit last episode, but the AFC is packed, which makes it super exciting because
AFC is stacked.
the wild card spot is going to be filled up. You got teams like Chargers, Jets, Broncos.
Broncos.
Breaking news: Turner got a hit.
Oh,
Oh my God! Finally, and we're losing
We'll
7-5.
save it for the
Save it for baseball.
Save it for the baseball.
I'm
corner.
sorry. It's just when Trey Turner gets a hit, I need to announce it.
but
That's fair.
so it's like what? So top down, you have Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. I guess you could say Jets, Ravens, Chargers. Jaguars. Who else? I mean, that's like 7. That's an entire playoff.
Yeah,
roster.
The
Entire-
Raiders look interesting.
Well, and then there's a lot of teams that are interesting. Like the Patriots are always 9-8, 10-7, 8-9.
Didn't they have a losing record last year?
Yeah, I think they were 8-9.
That was like the first time
But
that they did.
when you have a team that's constantly like that, it's like, do you pick up a little bit on the margins and suddenly are 10-7 and you're in a spot? If you're the Raiders, you kind of have an interesting team a little bit.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
So do you sneak into the playoffs, but you got a tough division? And if you're in this is what I thought about a lot. If you're in a division with what's the division with the Colts?
Oh, I forgot about Dolphins.
Jaguars.
AFC
South.
AFC South. If you're in that division and you're playing the Texans and
It's Texans, Colts,
Colts,
Jags,
Jags,
Titans.
yeah, so if you're the Titans and you're playing the Colts and the Texans and you win 4 of those games,
That's 4.
you win a
games,
couple
yeah.
games on the side, take one off the other division leader, suddenly you've got 6-7 wins
Yeah,
and you can be in a playoff hunt. So you just never truly know
until
it happens. So it'll be very interesting. The NFC is a very
very
people,
top heavy.
People want to try to make it sound like it's like going to be interesting, but it's not. 'Cause people are like,
It's-
oh, maybe the Cowboys will make
No.
it. Out.
It's
But
the
the
NFC East is carrying the entire.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
people some
And
people
the
want to be like,
Niners,
oh,
that's
maybe
it.
the Cowboys will
like
take the
the
division.
Seahawks,
But if the Cowboys take the division, the Eagles are going to get in the wild card game.
Yeah.
So both teams make the playoffs. We worry about that later.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the 49ers are going to be good. The NFC South is terrible.
They're
It's
so,
horrible.
The Saints might be fine, but that's it.
Well,
the rest of the teams that
they don't have a
division are-
starting running back for a couple games.
Well, it's only for 3 games. Oh yeah. So by the way, Alvin Kamara has finally gotten his suspension from last year's
Yep.
Pro Bowl, where he rocked a dude and
In
knocked him out
Vegas.
cold in Vegas. Also, weirdly, I just saw that a Colts corner was also in on that and also got suspended 3
Oh.
games.
Nice.
Didn't realize that was a thing, but that also.
The Colts players are taking L's left and right.
They-
They're like the gambling stuff where the Colts has been out of control.
Their cornerback room now has 20 games worth of suspensions.
Listen, sometimes you're just itching to place that $10 bet on, some money line while you're in the locker room.
It's so dumb. But anyway, that's yeah. It's the NFC is definitely way more top heavy because you have like Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys, and then like after those 3, it's really a lot of just wild card teams that are playing or might be like in
Yeah, like for example, take the NFC North.
yes,
You've got the Vikings, Packers,
Lions,
and Bears.
Bears aren't making the
All
playoffs.
those teams to me are wild card teams, but
Yeah.
someone has to win the division.
Someone has to win the division, but they
Mhm.
all are like wild card teams.
So do you go with a potentially dynamic offense with like someone like Jordan Addison who got pulled over for going 20 miles per hour on the
Hey,
speedway?
it was for his dog.
140.
I don't also believe it was for his dog.
It definitely wasn't for his dog, and he's going 140. He didn't beat Henry Ruggs' record, but he was close.
Yeah. So you got like a decent offense there that looks good, but they have a terrible defense. They lost Dalvin
Yeah,
Cook.
their defense looks
You got
horrible.
the Packers who could be good, but they are starting a quarterback who's never played before, so who knows what he looks like. Justin Fields is suddenly everyone's most favorite quarterback to win MVP.
Makes no sense.
annoying.
And the Bears are maybe going to be good, and the Lions were good last year.
The
but they didn't-
Lions, I think, could win that division.
Mhm.
I think they will win a division,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't shock me if they came in last place because
They could also
I don't think their team is like.
It's Jared Goff. Anything can happen.
I'm not sure they have a wide receiver 1.
Well, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he's a wide receiver 1.
He was like a wide receiver 7 last year.
he was pretty good last season.
I think he's good. I just don't know if he can be the best receiver.
You're
on it.
saying so like
Okay.
they don't have like
He's not AJ Brown. Or
I
something like
I
that.
will
Yeah.
say his style of play is more of like a wide receiver 2
Yeah.
kind of thing, where he is more of like a slot kind of receiver, like stretch the field,
Mm.
Yeah.
not necessarily like a go up and get it
Yeah.
kind of receiver. So you're right. Their receiving core is missing like that one like kind of like big piece offensive weapon because they did also lose TJ Hawkinson,
Yep.
which was the stupidest
To a
move.
division rival.
Like
Why?
I don't know what they were thinking. I think they ended up getting a tight end from Iowa again. I think they drafted him.
Mhm.
But like again, like TJ Hawkinson was good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why they just let him go for like a 3rd round pick.
And what's interesting is the Lions should know, like they've been rebuilding the last couple of years, but they should know that this time is now for them to win the division. Because
Mhm.
really in football, it's about winning your division.
Yeah.
Super Bowls are great, playoffs wins are great, but if you constantly win the division, no one's going to say anything because the divisions and the rivalries matter so much
Yep.
in
Mhm.
football. No one cares what people care, but if the Eagles win the division 10 years in a row but never win the Super Bowl, people be like, damn, it's kind of sad.
They're
that they didn't
still
win.
like very good.
But they're gonna be like, we stuck us to the Giants, Cowboys, and
Yeah.
Commanders. Maybe the Commanders. Who knows? They might change their.
They
They might change their name.
They
again.
might change
Yeah.
their name back to the Redskins. I've seen, but
Oh,
whatever.
really?
I
didn't
have
see
seen.
the-
I have
didn't
seen
see
that
back
that
to the
might be a thing,
Redskins.
but I don't.
It's a dumpster fire.
Also, Zach finally. Thank
I think the
God.
Washington
Oh,
football
we need
team.
to talk about Jim Irsay and Dan Snyder.
Oh, well,
Back to the Colts.
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, so the transition to Dan Snyder.
Yes.
But
That's a good transition there. The worst owner is out,
thank
which
God.
is good.
Thank God.
What's really weird is that the guy who bought the Commanders is the Sixers owner. So now you've got a little bit of a Philly-Washington rivalry going on
Which
there.
is really weird. But
Which is kind of strange. But I'm just glad Dan Snyder's out. The worst thing I hate to hear was when you have millionaires and billionaires owning teams, and they really treat their employees bad, and they're not good at like what they're doing. Like they
Yeah.
should be ambassadors for the game, helping
Yep.
to grow the sport.
Yep.
And when you constantly have owners, the same thing that happened when the Suns over Robert Sarver was there.
Oh yeah, he
Getting
was
all
just-
these assault charges, not
trash.
helping the team out, and it's like these players are just trying to play for you and build the base. They're ambassadors for the game. Your job is just to support them. You have the money to support them,
exactly.
and you're not doing your job. So that was part of the reason I was excited for possibly Jeff Bezos owning them, was because he has a lot of money and
Just
he
has
could,
a metric.
he could pour money. Because I don't want the
money.
Commanders to
Just
be
writes a blank check for him.
because in football there's a hard cap. It doesn't really matter how rich your owner is. There's not much you're changing about how the team is constructed, how
Yep.
much salary cap you have.
But the more money you put into it, the higher that salary cap goes.
Yes. And if you can build a stadium that's cool and you can get fans invested
Yeah,
and build a good brand.
game
that
keeps
helps out a
growing,
lot.
Growing,
Mhm.
growing. Yep.
So I'm really glad to see that Josh Harris is there now, just for the league's sake, not for like I prefer if
Couldn't
they
care
were
less about
crappy for the
Commanders.
Eagles.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm also not really threatened by the Commanders to win the division.
I don't know. Sam Howell apparently is better than Daniel Jones. I've been seeing. So I don't
Hey,
know.
The Corgi said the Cowboys are finishing in 4th, so the Cowboys are finishing in 4th.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the Corgi did decide.
The Corgi made division picks already?
Yes. Already made them.
Wow.
The
He or
Corgi,
he or
Corgi's,
she is early this year.
Corgi's ranking is Eagles, Giants, Commanders, Cowboys.
I'm not going to say the Cowboys are going to come in last place.
They're not
I
going
am.
to.
'Cause
I
I don't
am.
think they are.
They're not.
I hate
But
the Cowboys.
I do think the Cowboys are coming into the year slightly overrated. It's like people don't want to pick the Eagles because they made the Super Bowl
You're
last
telling me
year.
the Cowboys are overrated? Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
That's a hot take. I know, right? I'm saying, I'm saying,
What's wrong
I'm
with
saying it.
you?
The Cowboys are overrated.
No.
I know, but I feel like people are now like it's like the popular pick to be like, are the Eagles really running it back? Like, come on, they're not that good, right? And then they're like,
Ah, yeah.
look, the Cowboys got Dak Prescott, who had a ton of interceptions last year. Like, oh look, they have
Mister, I'm not throwing 10 interceptions this
they
year.
got
Watch me up there
they've
with
got
20.
They've got
literally.
Tony Pollard. They've got Micah Parsons,
They have
CeeDee Lamb.
CD's
Um,
nuts. Sorry.
Trayvon Diggs, who's a captain and was screaming at Dak Prescott during practice.
Calling him a
Don't
choice select of words.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think the Cowboys kind of got like they've got good players, but like I don't know if they have a great team.
Yeah, because like
And
individually, I think a lot of their players are incredibly talented, but like I don't know what McCarthy's doing over there. They just can't figure it out.
Also, losing Kellen Moore is not good.
Well, because their whole shtick is that it's going to be, oh, well, Kellen Moore was the reason why the offense was stagnant, whatever. It's like he led one of the best offenses in the league for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's not his fault.
The Cowboys were first or second in scoring last year with
Yeah.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
So they could be like, you can be all you want, like, oh, you need to perform in the playoffs, but also like regular season wins are important, and if you
got to
score
get to the playoffs.
and if you score more than the other team, you're always gonna win.
Exactly.
Teams are like 1,000,000-0 when they score
Yeah.
more points than the other team.
Oh, well, the Cowboys were bad. Their defense was letting up so much. Okay, is that Kellen Moore's fault? He's the offensive coordinator.
And they have Dan Quinn, who was the head coach and regarded as a good DC. So I'm
Yeah.
just not sure
Whatever.
how good the Cowboys are going to be. But that we'll save that for another preview. Again, I am picking them to finish second in the division.
Last.
I do not think, and I would like to reiterate that the Commanders are going to
delusional.
finish ahead of them.
You're
It's going to be
Delulu.
sick with Saquon Barkley.
If it happened, I wouldn't be shocked.
It's going to be
Actually,
sick.
I'm Delulu. Let's be real.
Raj,
Barkley is going to lead the Giants to win the division.
Raj, take it to Jim Irsay.
So with the recent running back controversy, or not even a controversy, it's just the whole market being like just
Running
in
back
the
drama.
toilet. But Austin Eckler decided to hold a Zoom meeting with elite running backs, and when I say elite, there's some questionable choices. In
They
that
all were
meeting.
elite, and then it was like, who is it? Herbert.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins. That's what it was.
J.K. Dobbins. I was like, okay.
so confused.
When I saw it, I was like, am I not remembering how good like J.K.
He's
Dobbins
not,
was?
He's
And I was like,
not.
he came out of college and was a decent high prospect, but I was like, was he really like him?
No.
He literally never was. But anyway, back to you.
But yeah, so then 2 days later, Saquon signed his contract.
Immediately is like, yeah, we're screwed. Anyway, I'm signing the deal.
I love how Saquon's takeaway within the Zoom meeting was like, there's a 0% chance that I'm getting the money.
Yeah, it's like, wow, we're screwed. Anyway, I'm taking the money.
And then basically a week after that, you have Jonathan Taylor requesting a trade from the Colts. And then an hour later, Jim Irsay says, we're not trading him.
Well, so the whole thing with that is that Irsay came out and said, I'm not paying him. And then he said something to the effect of like, if both of us were out of the league tomorrow, no one would care, which was a really weird thing to say. But then
It's bringing both himself and Jonathan Taylor down.
really,
for no
really
reason.
weird, really weird. I don't know. I really don't know why he said that. But so he says that. Then it comes out that Taylor had requested a trade. Then Irsay says we're not trading him by any means, not now or in October. And then I think they're trying to put him on like
They're putting him on an injured list
reserve
for back pain.
for
Well, you
back
can't
pain.
put IR yet because the season has started,
Yes,
so they're on
yes.
IL. Yeah.
So they're trying to put him on there for back pain, so they don't have to pay him. So they would basically just tell him like, you're not. They're gonna hold out. They're gonna force him to hold out.
And then JT tweeted, I've never had back pain before.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not doing that. So
And then there's a video of him on the field walking like he's like crippled.
yes, yeah. So he's walking around hood up, like not like listening to anybody or whatever. And like, obviously, this isn't a critique on Jonathan Taylor because Jim Irsay is acting like a moron right now. Because Jonathan Taylor like is that offense at this point. Like, because if you have like a rookie quarterback there, like having a great running back to lean on is so important. But I don't know. It's hard for the running back market because obviously I'm a little bit biased because of Saquon Barkley.
For sure.
But like I see the purpose of a running back there still is a purpose for the running back. It's not like some people are saying where it's like, oh, the running back is going to be extinct in a couple of years. No, it's not.
It's the block.
There will always be a point to having a running back. But the whole thing is that like it's hard to look at all the top teams in the league and see they're not really paying running backs, except for the 49ers, who are paying Christian McCaffrey because he is such an elite receiver as well. But I think it's just hard when you look at the market. You see Jonathan Taylor is like, he is a 3-down running back. He is like workhorse, and his prime is now. But that type of running back falls off very, very, very hard after 27. And like when you look at players like Ezekiel Elliott, like Todd Gurley, like
DeMarco Murray.
Who else am I thinking of? He was on the Chargers before Austin Eckler. Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
They all got paid and then completely screwed their teams over because their play fell off drastically.
Because their play isn't worth the money.
Exactly. So it's like the whole thing is that like it might just need to be, it's less of, I think, it might be like, the current running backs are kind of getting screwed. Like
Yeah.
that's just what's going to happen. But eventually, I think what is really going to happen is that running backs coming out of college are just going to be getting like actual deals.
Yeah.
Because like if they can like show, they might only get signed to like a 1 or 2 year rookie deal.
Yeah.
And then get paid immediately. So that way they are still in their prime. They don't have a lot of like work put on them, but they have proven that they can be good in an NFL style offense.
Mhm. I didn't come up with this take. Nick Wright did. He goes on FS1, but I think people are being a little bit over dramatic about the running back market right now because this is just what happens in the NFL and in sports. Like things change, positions change.
Yep.
Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, these were quarterbacks who were not extraordinarily dynamic who won Super Bowls.
Yep.
Go back in the last couple of years. You don't see it's Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow getting the Super Bowl, Matt Stafford winning a Super Bowl. You got a lot more dynamic quarterbacks. Like the league is very quarterback receiver heavy right now.
Yep.
You don't have like the league changes. If you look in basketball, we went from these centers who just posted up and did this stuff. Then suddenly it was a guard heavy league, and now the centers are coming back a little bit. Like things change. So maybe in a few years there's going to be not many running backs because people aren't going to be playing the position as much. And then you're going to have a great running back who's going to be super dynamic, or the rules change, and who knows?
Well, because the whole thing with that is that like in certain ways you're right, because like you see it a lot in basketball where it's almost cyclical, where like certain things will come back into style just based on how the game evolves. And the whole thing with football is that like at first for like the longest time that it was in here, it was very like whoever the biggest and strongest player, whoever hit the hardest, those are going to be the best players. But then as you started to see, speed has really like evolved the game, and like that's what's really like getting pushed.
Why Jahmyr Gibbs is picked so early in the draft?
Exactly, like he's a burner, he can catch, he can do all this. Well, the thing is that there's still room for players like Derrick Henry, who is a linebacker playing running back, because he's now like being able to hit linebackers that are sometimes smaller than him.
He is a Dodge Durango.
Exactly. Like when there's always going to need to be like that kind. There's always going to be room for that, just because of how like dynamic you can make a football team. But like the smaller that defenses get, you're going to then get more athletic players. Like because then you get like those rare cases like a Saquon Barkley, who's 235, can run a 4.4. And hits like a truck.
Yeah.
So it's like you will always have those unique players, but I think the whole thing is that like those unique players at running back especially are just going to need to get paid earlier because of how hard like the league is really becoming, just based on how fast everybody is.
Yeah, and that position is most dependent on the thing that's in front of them, which is the offensive line.
Exactly.
They're very dependent position. I say they're the most dependent position in the league. So when you're dependent on your offensive line having to block for you, then you're going to get paid less. And I feel bad for the stars who are getting a little bit screwed over right now because they want to get money so they can provide for their family and live in luxury. But that's just kind of how the sport is. And you have to roll with the punches. And I just don't think the continued debate around if running backs are like, I would love if the league could work out a little bit of rules and the contracts and be like, okay, cool. We'll take off 20% of what you're paid from the salary cap or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can get paid a little bit more without hurting your team.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Instead of Saquon getting 10 million, he can get 12
million.
Well,
because the deal he signed, it was like it was like I think it was like a $9 million guaranteed, and then it was like $2 million in incentives or something like that. It was just like a boosted up franchise tag.
Yeah.
It was just like that. So it's like a 1-year deal, and then they're just gonna like keep trying to work out another contract.
Yeah.
But like the thing I will say is that it was very obvious that the media was trying to push a narrative around Saquon Barkley that it was like, oh, he's being greedy. He's trying to just get all the money out, whatever. Meanwhile, it's like, it's very obvious. It's like, he obviously recognizes that the running back market is screwed.
Yeah.
That's what we found out. That's why he signed the deal. That's why he signed the contract. But he is a team focused player.
Yep.
Because that's why he said, like in the interview, everyone's like, oh, like, why'd you take the deal? He's like, well, it's either I sit out or I play. And he's like, and I want to play. I want to be here with my teammates. I want to win.
And for these running backs, like, they have commercials they can be in and endorsements.
There are other ways to get that stuff.
So I'm not saying like obviously other players can get that as well, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't play, if you say the solution for running backs is that you should all
hold out, it's not
going
to work. Le'Veon Bell proved it doesn't work.
Derrick Henry gets all this money from this Nissan Heisman commercial that he's always in because he won the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
If he doesn't play, they're not going to be interested in putting him on the Heisman commercial.
Yep.
Because no one's going to know who he is, especially like new fans of football.
Of course.
So Saquon Barkley needs to play, so he's in his Nike commercials.
Yep.
So he's in Beats commercials, things like that. His Powerade commercial or whatever.
Especially in the New York market.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you play halfway decent in the New York market, you can make a lot of money.
Everyone knows the star running backs' names, and like you know them a lot because of fantasy football. People
Because
get
of fantasy,
and
exactly.
it sounds silly, but
It's true.
running backs are drafted really early. You know who's going to get big name and big endorsements? Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson
when
is going to get a
people who
lot.
don't know who Bijan Robinson is drafts him in the first round of their fantasy draft.
Yep.
And then when you see Bijan Robinson in a
And-
Powerade commercial, people are going to buy Powerade.
Exactly.
I advise you not to draft Bijan first round or second. Just wait.
What?
Why?
Why would you want to? You don't know how good he's gonna play.
Bro, we're not getting into the fantasy football debate
Yeah.
right now.
I'm just saying,
we are
I
not
would-
unpacking all of that right now.
I also don't know how Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes is going to play this year. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah, but at least we know they played in the NFL before.
Right, because we definitely didn't know that Jamar Chase was going to be good going into the NFL. Oh, he dropped 2 passes in preseason, and he had like the best rookie season ever.
I don't think his hands are really good.
He actually dropped a couple passes.
Did they only draft him because Joe Burrow's on the team?
Meanwhile, Bijan Robinson had like a one-handed catch in practice. He's been saucing people up in routes and stuff as a running back.
I don't trust it.
All right, don't draft him.
I'm not.
I'll scoop him up in the third round, I guess. I'll be the one to do it.
All right, fine. Twist my arm. I'll take him.
Is there anything else to talk about in football? I can't.
Yeah, we already.
Travis Kelce punched.
Oh yes, Travis
Which
Kelce
is
punched
yeah,
the
wild,
hell
because-
out of his teammate.
If people don't understand the backstory of Travis Kelce, Travis is like kind of like a wild guy. He had been in like he was involved in a bunch of like bad stuff at Cincinnati, and his brother kind of Jason Kelce, who plays for the Eagles, kind of pulled him out of it, and he came to the league as a little bit immature. Andy
Yeah.
Reid helped grow him. Now suddenly he's winning Super Bowls, super mature
Yeah.
player and a mentor. And then very uncharacteristically, he gets a touchdown pass, gets
And-
hit slightly late, but not super.
Because the guy
hard.
kind of goes for the ball a little bit to try and like knock it out, but like it wasn't anything. It looked like a normal play. Like it didn't look like anything serious.
and kind of just like bumps him in the chest a little bit. And Travis just turns around and just like clocks him.
Just like this dude is walking away, like his head is away from Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce turns and punches him directly in the back of the head,
And mind you, they got these big foam pads on their
along
heads
with a
during-
helmet.
With a helmet.
Like-
So not only like the punch doesn't send, I guess it sends a message without hurting the guy, but I don't know what message you're trying to send. You're arguably the greatest tight end who has ever played. Won two Super Bowls. I think this dude is like fighting for a 53-person
yeah,
roster
he's fighting
spot.
to
Yeah.
like pay his bills. Like Jesus.
And then Travis pulled it a Draymond and then just
Yeah, just tries to punch it, like knock him out for no
Now,
reason.
fortunately, it's football.
So like it didn't
so
really
it's not,
matter.
like,
Yeah.
That big of a deal as compared to basketball where you don't get into fights, but just like very uncharacteristic. And then like he tweeted afterwards and was just like, I need to be a better leader.
Yeah, there was also another clip that came out of him like shoving somebody after a play or something like that. It was like again, it was like the defense like kind of hit him late, whatever, and he was like getting up in somebody's face. It's like, dude, there's a difference between being really competitive and getting like fired up and just being an asshole. Like, I don't know where this came from because you're right. Like Travis Kelce, like he did have like that stuff at Cincinnati where he was like, this was very early on in his career. He's like old. He's like in his 30s.
I think Cincinnati was 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it was a while because like he wasn't a big name for a while, and then it was like
He
kind
played
of
quarterback.
he played quarterback, and then like he like came in as a tight end, and for a while he didn't really like it was like, oh, he's like a solid tight end, whatever, but he's really exploded over the past like 4 or 5 years. But yeah, you're right because like he has this podcast with his brother, like New Heights, and it's like
Great podcast.
it's a
check it out.
great podcast, and like they just like they seem super chill. He seems like a great guy to like hang out with and talk to, but then like yeah, he just lit somebody up. Like
because Taylor Swift didn't take his phone number.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it could be, which is a great story,
Yeah.
but it just was very strange coming from the Chiefs too, which is like
They just
didn't-
won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl. They didn't do anything in the offseason because they're really good. They're developing a lot of their young defensive guys. Like they have a great shot to go back and win it again this year.
Yeah.
And it's just a very like strange thing. And I really like no one's really been talking about it since it happened. So like
Mhm.
I'm not too concerned, but just very, very, very strange coming from them specifically. I
Yeah.
expected that out of a team like the Cowboys or I'm trying to think of some other teams that just kind of have
Raiders.
some drama. Yeah, Raiders. Just some other teams like that.
Mhm.
Not the
Defending Super Bowl
yeah,
champions.
the defending Super Bowl champions where everything seems so like clinical. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has had family drama for the last 3 years, and the team hasn't said a peep about it.
No.
And that's how like tight-lipped and like mature they
they're
are.
like,
about
yeah, we're
everything.
not speaking on somebody else.
And then on camera, you get Travis Kelce just side swiping a dude who, was,
like, this poor guy
who didn't even hit him that hard. Like I would not
Like,
classify
bumped
that
him,
as
yeah.
a late hit, is what some
was,
people were calling it. It's like it was not a late hit; it was a slightly delayed interaction.
Yeah, it's like, and also it's football. Like you get way worse stuff than that, like all the time. And like
Mac Jones tripping you after a play.
yeah, or kicking you in the nuts. Yeah, like he's a
Embiid
scumbag.
stepping on. Wait, who stepped? Draymond stepping on.
Draymond trying to
Sabonis'
cave in somebody's chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, because there is, I just don't, I really don't understand, because like there's the whole narrative every single year you get fights go out during practice and everyone's like, oh my God, this team is over. We're all done. But like that, honestly, that just shows like they're competitive. Because at the end of the day, all of these guys have been playing football for 10, 15 years at this point. They all are really fired up. Like at the Jets this year, there was multiple fights that broke out at one point. But the fights are never like that. They're never one dude just throwing a punch at somebody and then, all hell breaks loose. It's always like a big hit or like somebody gets hit late or something like that. And then it's kind of like almost like a scuffle where everybody kind of just like starts shoving each other and like no one really knows what to do. Or even the whole thing with the Cowboys where Trayvon Diggs was like, talking trash to Dak and Dak told him to like piss off, whatever. That's just trash talk. Like they're some of the best athletes in the world. Like you're going to be hyper competitive. You're going to start talking trash. Everybody does that. And then of course later it comes out that it's like Trayvon's like, oh yeah, no, I got nothing but love for Dak. Like, it's just like trash talking during practice. And then Dak's like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like this happens all the time. And that's what I think some people don't get, is that it's like it's very normal for that kind of stuff. But it's not normal just to punch a random teammate in the back of the head. That's weird.
And it was just so isolated. It wasn't like they were in a pit, like jawing back and forth, and things got a little overheated, and someone kind of like swung out.
Yeah.
Of hand. You'll see that sometimes.
Everybody was walking away, and then he just comes up and just sucker punches
Yeah.
them in the back
It
of the
reminds
head.
me a lot of, and I forgive me if I get the player wrong, but they played for the Saints, and like he just like the play was dead, and he just stood there.
Oh
and
no!
hit the
So,
guy.
guy on the Bears is when C.J. Gardner-Johnson was on the Saints,
Yeah.
but it was the guy on the Bears who ripped his mouth guard and then punched him,
Yeah.
and then C.J. was
I
just
thought-
standing
I
there
thought
like,
it was
what?
I thought it was CJ, but then I was like,
And it was C.J.
but then I was like, oh, maybe because he was on the Eagles last year, so I was like, maybe
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, you're right. It was 2 years ago because CJ at one point he actually swiped the guy's mouth guard a couple plays ago, and then it was like 2 drives happened, and then they came back out there, and then they lined up, and then the dude immediately grabbed his mouth guard, punched him in the face. CJ Gardner-Johnson just stood there,
Did nothing.
didn't do anything, and the dude punched him again, and then Janoris Jenkins jumped on the guy's back, and it just went crazy.
it kind of it wasn't as dramatic as that, but it
But
reminded me
yeah.
of that where I was just like,
Why? Like,
why did
what are you
do
doing?
that?
Yeah.
So that was the Chiefs. That's like that's the most drama it's going to be in the Chiefs for the
entire year.
season.
Yeah, like
well, until Brittany does something.
Well,
You're
yeah, I
next.
guess,
Brittany, you are next.
Jackson Mahomes, I think is finally in court.
What happened
now.
with his civil suits?
I think he's finally in court.
Okay.
He's in court, but there's been talks that Chiefs fans or like people.
No,
like,
it's
boycotting business.
I think it's his fans specifically
Mhm.
have been sending death threats and are like basically trying to get the business owner like fired or like get her to drop the charges,
Interesting.
which is pretty messed up.
Jackson Mahomes has like stands.
I guess apparently
He's
Why
a
would you-
TikTok star, dude.
he's a TikTok star.
An annoying one.
Well, dude, that doesn't matter.
He appeals to many fan bases.
It's a TikTok, bro. Like, don't question it. I don't.
I could not
understand
imagine
either.
someone being a Jackson Mahomes stand.
Bro, there's people sending people gifts on lives for acting like an NPC now. Like,
Dude, they make money though.
I know.
We might need to. We might need to try to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Thank you
Look.
for the rose.
Thank
It
you.
smells
Ooh,
nice.
Wow.
Glizzy, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. Okay.
Gizzy Gobblers. Gizzy
Wait.
Gobblers over here.
Glizzard.
What I do want to talk about, though, switching gears, is the World Cup.
Yes, the Women's World Cup.
And transparently, I don't know about anyone else. I have not watched a lot of Women's World Cup besides the USA women.
I've watched some of the games.
I have
Okay,
no
cool.
idea what's
So
going
we have a
on.
little bit of analysis. But I did want to start with the U.S. because we are from the United States of America.
We are.
And our women's team has won 2 World Cups back to back. They're going for 3.
Mhm.
What's going on?
So, I got a breakdown. Well, first I watched the game that they tied. I forget who it was against.
You watched the Portugal game.
No, one before that. That was where
Oh,
there's-
Netherlands.
Netherlands, yes, Netherlands game.
Transparently, I don't think a lot of people watched the Portugal game because it's on at 3 in the morning. And
Yeah.
even though we are sitting here today, We do go to work.
We do actually go to work. But
we have lives.
But yeah, so I watched that game, and my girlfriend, she's a former soccer player, and like she actually follows the women's team pretty extensively. And her breakdown and analysis is that it's mostly that they are kind of in a transition period between like the old guard and the new players, and the coach isn't playing the new players and is kind of just trying to keep the old guard, like Alex Morgan, like Megan Rapinoe, on the field. Like, they're still starters.
Yeah.
And they're just obviously past their prime at this point. Because in the last World Cup, I believe, was it Alex Morgan or Carly Lloyd at the hat trick?
Carly Lloyd, I think?
Yeah, I think it was Lloyd.
Carly Lloyd had a hat trick, but she was definitely at her end.
Exactly. And she retired. But the thing is that at this point, Alex Morgan, people have come onto the U.S. national team after her and have retired at this point.
Yeah.
So she is past her prime.
And this is no shade to Alex Morgan. Alex Morgan had a
absolutely
kid,
not.
had a baby, and came back before the last World Cup.
Absolutely not.
I just want to clarify that we're not.
Yes, no, this is not at all trying to bag on Alex Morgan. And there absolutely is a purpose for her to be on the team because the rest of the team is very young. So they need that veteran player. They need somebody who's been there, done that, been there on the biggest stage possible to be able to lead the team. But she just can't be the starter at this point.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rapinoe. It's like they're just past their prime.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Did Rapinoe start the Portugal game? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Because she didn't start the game against the Netherlands, and she didn't start the game against Vietnam.
Yeah, but that's basically the big thing is that like they are just like they're kind of trying to hold on to like their old wins, and it's like it's just because the whole thing is that like the new players that are playing are very hungry, they are fired up, they're ready to go, and it's not really their fault, but it's like it's kind of the coach that's like that's holding them back in the end because they are getting so many opportunities during the Netherlands game. They had like 4 or 5 shots on goal in like in like a whole stretch, and they were all great shots that are just slightly missing, or it's like they'll hit like a post, or it'll be like the goalie will like just get a finger on it and like get it out of the way. So like they're there, it's just they aren't finishing.
Yeah, my biggest thing with watching the team is, and I played soccer. I've played soccer for about 14 years. Until I got to college, I stopped. The U.S. doesn't look like they know what they need to do in the final third of the field. So when they cross half field and they get into the 18-yard box and move it back about 12 more yards, so in the final 30, they don't look like they know what they're doing. They're not chaining passes well. Their crosses that they're sending in are bouncing off players before it actually gets a good look into the middle. There was a couple times during the Netherlands game where a player would be within the 18 at the top and looking to pass the ball instead of shooting the ball, which if you're within the 18, you should be looking to put the ball on frame, and they're not making those opportunities, and it's sucking their midfield up, and then they're running back on defense. The reason the Netherlands scored that goal in that one game was because Lindsey Horan and some of the other midfielders were all the way up, and they just didn't get back, so the defending was all over the place, and someone came in very cleanly and had a shot from about 12 yards out.
And that's impossible for a goalie. Like,
it's impossible for Nair to get that because she got a free shot. It's because the midfield didn't drop back in. So I don't think they're really executing well in the final third, and I think that's reflective of the fact that they've got Rodman up there, and they've got Sophia Smith up there, who are both really young, and they've got Alex Morgan at the middle, who has not really played that well this tournament. And I don't know, maybe there's someone better on the bench than her. I don't know. I don't look at the practice. I don't watch practices. I don't go to the practices. I don't talk to the coach. So I don't know if Alex Morgan is the best option they have. But whatever that three front is doing right now, they're not working. It's not working out well. And then in the midfield, I don't think they're really controlling the games like they used to.
Yeah.
Their defense has been great. They let up 0 goals against Vietnam, which isn't that impressive. Let up 1 goal against the Netherlands, which I'm not blaming their defense for because I think the midfield really blew that one. And they held Portugal to a clean sheet. The ball did hit the post at the end of the 92nd minute. But besides that one bloop, they held them to 0 goals. So the U.S. is not letting up any goals. They're playing well defensively. They really need to figure out the
attack.
The offensive third. They need to execute better. It's not like they don't have the ball a lot and they don't know what they're doing and they're out of position. It's like they're just like it's bad. Like Rodman played terrible in the Netherlands game. Balls were bouncing off her foot everywhere. And I don't know if that's nerves, if that's youth and inexperience, but the U.S. women still have a chance. They're playing Sweden.
Yeah.
They're favored to win the game. I think some of that might be American bias, but also if this team starts play well, there's no one else.
If they start finishing, they're really, really good.
And anything can happen. Germany's out of the tournament.
The blue lock.
Team in the world. They're out of the tournament.
Blue lock. Japan coming in again.
So anything can happen. I'm excited to watch Sunday's game, but I'm also nervous because I think it's a very real chance.
It's gonna be an intense game.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I hate is you get the narrative of people like, oh, if the women don't win this game, I'm never watching them again.
the
Whatever.
US.
Yeah, like, oh, wait, that means they're going to win. Never mind.
Exactly.
I was like, wait.
The reverse Raj.
I thought about that for a second.
And even if the U.S. does lose, cool. I think I made $2 because I'm only putting $1 on it.
Sick. But yeah, like it is really frustrating how, especially for like the US women's team, because like now the only media they're getting now is saying that they're terrible, when they, for 8 years they were the best team on the planet, and like they were clearly so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, and like this is like part of the thing where I think like social media is very reactionary, and I don't feel like I'm a reactionary person. Like the U.S. got into the like tournament.
Yeah.
Like the bracket play. That is so important because once you get in there, you have a shot.
Exactly.
Germany can't compete.
Exactly.
Like, the second team in the world, everyone's like, oh, the U.S. #1 team in the world. They barely got out of the group play. Germany didn't get out of group play.
Yeah.
They're home. They can't play for the world champion. They can't get first, second, or third. They're done. They're out.
Exactly.
So the U.S. has a chance to go in and win a game.
Yeah.
And then you're down to 8 teams.
And exactly, because the whole thing is that it's like the U.S. is so young. Like they are so young across the board. So it's like, God forbid, 1 year they don't win the World Cup, and they come back next year or next time locked and loaded.
I'd sure be happy if the men won World Cup.
I would wish they would get past the round of 16.
Never will. Captain America.
I don't know. I mean, well, when Pulisic puts on an American jersey, he's insane.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But
the LeBron James.
Brave World Order.
Or
God.
Brave New
Brave
World.
New World.
Yeah, the new Captain America movie. But
coming to theater near you.
Don't you shill for Marvel.
This-
we're
this-
not sponsored
This
by
show
them.
is sponsored by the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Dude, we get a Disney
Ever
sponsorship.
wonder what it's like to have a really good set of 23 movies and
No.
be slightly disappointed for the next 12 project? Well, we have a story for you now, streaming on Disney Plus.
Shut
It's a
up.
great new show called
You
Secret
shill.
Invasion, which has like 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, especially the finale episode, which everyone hated. Don't worry, they're coming out with season 2 of Loki, a show that everyone thought was kind of freaky and weird and maybe good, but now experts agree is not good, and season 2 is just going to be a train wreck.
Where did that monologue come from?
Get Disney Plus for $8.99 a month. The subscription price might be increasing this year to
Because of the writer's strike.
$11.99. Because of the writer's strike. Go get your subscriptions now. Use code WASH20 at checkout to save 50 cents on your subscription. And let us know in the comment section below if you like Secret Invasion as much as I did when I haven't watched it yet. Back to the show.
What the hell? Oh my
Where did that come from?
Okay.
Came from a deep place.
Yeah, clearly.
Been watching too many good movies like Oppenheimer
The Oppenheimer and Barbie.
and good TV shows like
I have
MasterChef.
now become Death, Destroyer of Worlds.
I am now become drunk driver of cars.
Yo.
That was my favorite meme. I
Oppenheimer?
don't drink and drive. I need to make that very clear. It's just a very funny meme.
If Oppenheimer was a football player,
Where do you play?
well, yeah.
I feel like he's an offensive coordinator. He
Ooh.
wouldn't be a football player. He wouldn't be a player. He's too nerdy.
He is really tall.
The general would have been a fullback.
For sure.
Matt Damon at fullback. Yeah, give me that.
What about Robert Downey Jr.?
Mm,
I feel like he could have been a. I feel like they're both
DB.
defensive back. I feel like they're all.
I think if Oppenheimer did play a position, it'd be linebacker.
Really?
Ooh.
You think
Like
Killian Murphy's a linebacker?
Head of the defense. I'm trying
I
to
guess
think
that's
like
fair.
big brain
I
here.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. I see.
You get the scenes where he's analyze, like you can see the particles in the
Yeah.
waves, and you're just sitting there like analyze. He's like, I know this play. It's like that Luke.
No,
Kuechly-
bud. That's
that-
just schizophrenia.
The Luke Kuechly thing where he's like just telling his defense where to go.
It's like, hey, that's that wheel. Oh, well, it's the opposite with Cam Newton.
That's the Cam
defense,
Newton
like,
thing.
Hey, it's the wheel route, and Cam's like, oh, cool, you've been studying.
Watch this. They throw the wheel around.
Yeah.
He scores a touchdown. No, but my favorite clip from Luke Kuechly. This is so off topic, but it's of him, and it's
Well, don't worry. Oppenheimer plays for the Panthers, so it's on topic.
it's fine. Okay. So yeah. So it's just the caption is just like, man, this team has Luke Kuechly stressing, and it's Luke Kuechly dragging players across the field to put them in the right positions for the play, and then he ends up going like makes like the tackle, whatever, and he gets up and he's like, guys, what are we doing?
There's a one-man defense wrecking crew. He was so
Literally.
good.
God, he was so good. I'm so pissed he had all those
Him and Andrew
concussions.
Luck are the players where I'm just like, damn, they really.
I
retired way too
wish,
early.
dude. I wish that like if we could turn off injuries for certain players, I would pick those two in a heartbeat. I'm not even a fan of either of those teams.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was so good. He was so unbelievably good. He was the next Peyton Manning.
He's exactly what Trevor Lawrence
It's
was.
yes,
Yeah.
He walked so Trevor Lawrence could run.
Yeah.
They are such similar players. They have like the similar attitudes, like leading like these young teams.
Like big names at college, came in, clear #1 draft pick, was good since day one. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had a little bit weird of a
Well, that's
first
because
year.
Urban Meyer was
Well,
there.
Urban
But yeah,
Meyer's
that's what I'm
the
saying.
exception,
Like he had a little bit first, but generally, like now he's year 2. Now he's going to year 3. Everyone thinks he's a top 5, top 6 quarterback in the league.
Or even like Robert Griffin III too. Like his
Yep.
injuries killed his career, but he walked so that way Lamar Jackson and everybody else could run. Like
could sprint.
could
I mean,
sprint.
like,
yeah.
Crazy what the running backs are doing, like
Something about
running wise.
FedEx Field, man.
Yeah, it's
Something
cursed.
about it.
It really is cursed.
The Dan Snyder effect.
All right, little baseball corner.
Oh, small baseball
The
corner.
Phillies
Yeah,
lost.
small baseball corner.
Let's go.
Baseball's. We talked about it a little bit last podcast, but I want to reiterate what's going on in baseball right now is so good for the sport.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's like everyone is log jammed in for wild card spots right now, which makes it super exciting. There is genuinely like 4 teams in the league. I'm going to pull up the standings right now.
The
so
Yankees
I'm
are
accurate.
last place in their division with 50 wins.
Yeah,
That is insane.
it's crazy. They're like teams that are having good seasons are suddenly in threat of not missing playoffs. Here's the teams that are like definitely out of it.
The Oakland Athletics.
Unfortunately,
Okay. The Rockies are definitely out of it.
yeah. Their booty.
The Nationals are out of it.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are out of it.
I think the Mets are too.
And then I would say the Pirates are out of it. And then beyond that, I wouldn't go super crazy. The Mets are like 7.5 out. Actually, we'll count the Mets. Then it's the Padres who are 3.5 out. There's way too many games. So that's 5 teams in the NL that are out that I don't think have a shot.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 teams: the A's, the Royals, the White Sox, and the Tigers who are out of it in the AL. So there's like 10 teams in a league of 30 that cannot make it. So there's 20 teams fighting for positions, and it's not like these division leaders are super clear and done.
Yeah.
For example, the Brewers right now are leading the Central Division in the NL. The Reds have the same exact wins as them. They just have 2 more losses.
Yeah.
So that could flip any day.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves, they've won the division.
Yeah.
They're set in stone. But otherwise, like the Dodgers play in the same division as the Giants.
Yeah,
Giants
the Giants
are-
are sneaky good this
The
year. I don't
Giants
know what
have
they're doing.
1 less win than them and a couple more losses, and that could easily change based on a couple more games, right?
Yeah.
So that's out. The Marlins, who are in the same division with the Phillies and the Braves, are half a game out of the Phillies in the wild card spot. The Diamondbacks are out of the wild card spot, but they are also 2 games. Wait, no, they're like 5 games behind the division leader and a couple games behind the Giants. It's just all log jammed up like crazy, and it makes every game so important, right?
Yep.
The Phillies went in, and I'm talking about the Phillies because they are a relevant baseball team, and me and Roger are a fan of them. The Phillies went into Miami, won 3 out of the 4 games, almost won 4 out of 4,
But
and
Trey Turner.
that's big because it's a division game. It's also big for the wild card spot, and you're feeling good about themselves. And usually in a baseball season, you say, hey, a random game here and there that you lose isn't that big of a deal. They lose to the Royals tonight, and it's a catastrophe because the Royals aren't good. Now they've won 7 in a row, but the Royals aren't good. Suddenly it's a catastrophe because you just lost an easily winnable game at home in a tight race. Every game is so important. And we see this last night with Shohei Ohtani. Has a really good game on the mound, a great game batting. The Angels lose, and you're just like, the Angels are kind of fighting for a spot in a wild
Yeah.
card
Mhm.
with some injuries, hoping to get Mike Trout back. Every game matters so much for baseball. Usually in a
Mhm.
season, it's like these games don't matter that much, and there's so many teams that it's like, hey, we rattle off a couple wins. We're inside. Even the Guardians are 6.5 games out. They traded a lot of their players, so they're probably not gonna.
Yeah, they're probably just like
They're probably gonna fade out. But even 6.5 games, you're like,
That's not impossible.
no, it's not impossible. You rattle off a couple good wins, and
Yeah.
suddenly you're 3 games out, and anything can happen. You win a series, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome for baseball. And you've got these stars like Verlander's getting traded around.
Scherzer's getting
Scherzer's
traded.
getting traded around. Shohei's still dominating the league.
Shohei is
Ellie De La Cruz is so exciting.
Yeah.
You've got drama on the Phillies with Trey Turner.
being
like-
bad.
Like you've got all this kind. Even the Padres have a lot of like big hitters like Manny
Yeah.
Machado and whatnot. And they're not performing. Up
Well,
to
I think
expectations.
something that's really
Manny
important this year.
Machado.
Oh my god, something that's really important this year. The top 4, it's like the top 4 like highest paid teams,
Yeah.
whatever. All of them are out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. The Phillies are in the playoffs now.
Well, okay, but then
Yeah.
it was what the Mets, the Padres and the Yankees, I think.
That's Padres, Yankees, Phillies. Yeah.
Philly, and then Phillies are in the playoff. Well, right now they're in the
Yeah.
playoffs, yeah. But like that is huge. That is crazy that these smaller market teams are fighting really hard for these positions.
And it's good for the sport. The pitch clocks helped out a lot, and like baseball's really exciting. Again, I said this last episode, I got into baseball a little bit more this year because the Phillies were really good and they had a good run last year. But viewership is up across the entire league.
Yep,
it's very exciting. I was at a Pirates game for the Phillies, and I was at a Pirates game against the Guardians. They're still selling out their. They're still filling up their arena.
The Pirates are forever
terrible.
bad, but they're. I will say the Pirates fans are some of the best diehard fans out there.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time.
Yeah.
to watch baseball. The league is doing a really good job, and I'm excited to see where everything happens. I hope the Phillies can pull it out a little bit because they haven't been playing well. But nonetheless, I'm in for the ride. I'm definitely going to be watching. I would not watch the baseball playoffs. Last year, I wouldn't have watched it. The Phillies weren't doing good. I'm 100% watching the playoffs this year, regardless of I will watch almost every single game and get invested. It's kind of hard otherwise because your team plays almost every single day, so it's hard to be like, let me go watch a random Braves game and see how that goes because the Phillies play for 17 straight days. Like I'm watching them if I'm watching any team. But super fun. Anybody ever any baseball comments besides Shohei Ohtani needing to go?
I hate Trey Turner.
The Yankees are bad. I still like them, but
good.
They're they're bad, but they still have 50 wins and are last in the division for the first time since 1990 or something like that.
I hate the Yankees, but it's such a bad beat.
Yeah.
The fact that I feel it's a little bit in the Phillies. Like we're winning a bunch of games. We're significant. Not significant. We're 7-8 games over 500. But it's just like the league's really good this year. If you're not in the playoffs, you're not in the playoffs. There's nothing you can do about that. There's no moral victories, especially for a team like the Yankees, and they're not in right now. Also, can we talk about Herman, your pitcher?
Oh yeah.
What the sticky substances?
I don't know.
The perfect game, and then the alcohol problem.
He's so weird. I have no idea.
I didn't even know who that guy was before he pitched his perfect
I didn't know who he was until he just tried to.
And then now there's talking about this apparently he was banned for sticky substances, and before that, then he pitched the perfect game, no sticky substances, and then I don't know if you need that like a placebo confidence or whatever. And then the alcohol problem.
Yeah, I've never heard of a professional athlete. Well, actually, correct that. I haven't heard of a professional athlete in a while getting put into an alcohol substance abuse thing.
Yeah,
that's how hammered are you getting?
Yeah, pregame and baseball games.
What are we doing here?
It's like us for real.
Oh my god,
just a very weird thing. And then he's just kind of after his perfect game, he kind of just fell off.
Oh, he was horrible. Yeah.
And then shout out to Valdez. He had a no hitter the other day. Not a perfect game, but a no hitter. He played for the Astros, so we hate him. But
yeah, we all hate him,
but
still, gotta give credit where credit's due.
That ends the baseball quarter for this episode.
Yeah,
and we're gonna move over to the betting corner where I'm gonna share my betting story from. We haven't recorded in a few weeks, been busy, but I went to a Pirates game, Pirates Guardians, and I was like, you know what I need to do? By the way, gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a gambling problem.
Please gamble responsibly. Raj is gonna say stupid stuff during this, but just know
we are all 21 years old, and gambling is allowed in our state.
Yep.
So everything is done legally. If you need help, make sure you contact someone. Don't bet money you don't have.
Bet on the Yukon lacrosse team. It is free.
You can't even have the lacrosse team.
Anyway, so I'm at the Pirates game, and I'm like, you know what's gonna make this game fun? Betting on live betting and watching in the arena, seeing someone hit the ball that I bet on. So we're about third inning in, and the Pirates had this first time pitcher, and his name is Quinn Priester, and he's his first major league game. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bet a hit parlay. So I bet 4 players to hit a hit, 2 on the Pirates, 2 on the Guardians. It was Quan Ramirez. They played for the Guardians. They played for the Guardians. Quan and Ramirez, and then I bet on Jared Trujillo, and then one other player. I don't remember who it was.
Reynolds.
No. And I could pull it up, but I don't care enough.
That's how you know
and
it
then,
lost.
Actually, no, I'm gonna pull it up.
It lost. Didn't it?
Anyway, we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get
anyway.
To it.
So it's kind of going off to a horrible start, and I'm wondering what I did. Quan comes up a couple times the bat against a bad pitcher. He's not getting hits. Ramirez is missing hits and whatnot. I'm just like, oh gosh, this is gonna be an L, right? And I had pretty good odds on it. It was $5 to win 37 or in profit 32. I can pull up the exact odds. It was. I haven't bet a lot since then, so that's good. We like that. Okay, it was the second player was Nick Gonzalez. He was playing the game. So $5 to win 37 plus 643 odds.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So it was good. It was a pretty good bet. It was unlikely to hit. And so I was just watching the game, and eventually Ramirez gets his first hit, and I'm like, "There's life," but it's pretty late in the game. It's like the sixth inning, and I'm like, like the starting pitcher has gone out that I knew for the Pirates, who I knew was bad. So I was like, it's gonna be like you're gonna bullpen in. It could be harder to get hits. Anyway, Gonzalez gets like this hit, and I'm like, this is hype. I think he hit a double, and I was like, oh, no doubt about it. We got two. But the game is coming to an end, and I'm stressed. I'm like, oh man. And then I thought my bet had kind of lost. I kind of gave up. Then Quan gets a hit, like the seventh or something.
Oh,
and I'm like,
it's back on.
I'm like, we're back on. But then Trujillo, my last player I need, comes up. It's like the bottom of the seventh inning, and he doesn't get a hit. And I'm like, I'm not sure it's gonna get back to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I lost the bet. Anyway, Pirates end up getting a couple batters around. It is the ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth inning, and Trujillo is the third hitter to go up. So he's gonna hit no matter what.
He has to hit.
He has to hit for my $5 to turn into, again, I don't bet money I don't have. I bet very small bets. $5 to turn into 32 profit. And he hits the most dinkerish ball for a single. It pops up over the first baseman in this awkward gap between first base and right field. And it's not really that deep. Like, it was more just that they miscommunicated and the ball just dropped through. And me and my friends that I'm with, we're going nuts. Like, because everyone, we were already being kind of heinous. People were leaving the park because the Pirates were down like 11-0. And we were like rooting for players that were like kind of mid to get hits and whatnot. And we are like going crazy. I was talking to Guardians fans and I was like, you all need to like root for I was like, you won the game. Just root for my parlay to hit. And I watched it come off his bat and I was like, that's a dinker. That's not going anywhere. And it just kind of floats like right down and drops in. And he gets to the base, and I'm dumbfounded because it's the bottom of the ninth.
It is the last hitter.
There's 2 outs.
Yeah.
No one's on base. Like, you might as well just strike, like, shoot for the fences, try to get a home run.
Yeah.
Just dinks it in, and I cash my bet. And the subway ride home, I was like,
this man was fired up.
Let's go. I felt so good about myself for a bet that had no business cashing. So that's my betting story for the betting corner.
Absolutely incredible.
Just one of those great moments that makes you think, I need to bet again. But obviously, responsibly call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem. Raj, on to you.
Welcome to my betting story from the Pirates-Phillies game where I went 0 for 5.
On a parlay or on separate bets?
Many things. First, I did yes runs in the first because I was like, it's the Pirates.
By yes runs for non-experienced bettors, he means he was betting at someone that one of the teams would get a run in the first set of innings, top of the first, bottom of the first.
Yep.
And which is, it's pretty rare to happen. Most of the time it's a clean sheet through those innings.
But Justin told me it's a new pitcher. Schwarber's up first.
Same pitcher, Quinn Priester. We went to the game.
Yeah.
All of us went to the game.
Schwarber, randomly out of nowhere, once every couple weeks, will just hit an absolute bomb of a home run.
On the first pitch.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? Put $5 down on it. We'll see what happens. And then, Phillies go up, strike out, fly out. Strike out or fly out. I forgot what happened, but then the Pirates go and, first batter, Noel strikes him out. And then the next batter hits one and I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my God, please. And then it got caught in the outfield and I lost but that first bet. Then I had another parlay. It was like a throwaway dollar parlay and I've had Casty getting a home run or something stupid. Did not happen. And then another one was like a real, like true parlay. It was strikeouts with Knowles getting 5, the other dude getting like 3 or 4, and then I had player hits with Stott, Bohm, Casty, and I'm pretty sure I think it didn't hit because Casty didn't get a hit that game.
Nice.
And then I had a 4th throwaway home run one where I was like, okay, we'll put McCutchen home run.
Oh yeah, you did hit the McCutchen home run. I remember that one.
McCutchen, Reynolds, Schwarber, and Casty home run. I had to throw away $1 to make 250 something.
Yeah, like
something insane.
Why not?
And obviously that didn't hit. But the one real bet I had, it's kind of disappointing. I'm like, thanks, Casty. But the biggest disappointment on the Phillies for me right now, and who I refuse to bet on ever again, is Trey Turner himself. Trey Vance Turner. If you ever see this clip, understand, Philly fans gave you an applause today, hoping it would help you. But no, hit it out to first, then you struck out, and then you got a single when it didn't matter, when it kind of mattered, but we still lost. You also cost us the sweep against the Marlins. You also cost me $650.
Mind you, this was not $650 that Raj actually lost. It's what he could have made on the bets.
But he cost me profiting $650. Every other leg hit. All Trey Van Stern needed to do was just hit the ball and get on base. That's it. They were playing the Oakland Athletics.
Oh, I remember that one.
It's not that hard, Trey. But I hope you get better. I hope you seek help. I hope you go to Lehigh Valley for all I care. Just play good because we gave you $300 million.
We can also be sympathetic to the fact that baseball's a hard game mentally.
Oh, I understand. And it doesn't help being going to Citizens Bank and getting booed.
Yeah.
But when your own mother says, I would boo at you too, you got to take a step back and realize what is going on with me.
Mama
Anyways.
Turner ain't taking any of this garbage.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Before we head out, I got a parlay.
Oh, boy.
I hooked up.
Oh, Lord.
It's a 3-leg parlay.
Okay.
Division winners in baseball.
Okay.
Brewers, Astros, Twins.
I
You
like
get
that.
it plus 382. They're both kind of like the Twins are definitely heavy favorites at minus 380. But I
Astros
do
are
like
gonna
them to win.
Yeah.
Astros are kind of even right now, but I think really
They'll win.
they probably a little bit of a World Series hangover. Start playing with some good momentum now. They just got a new pitcher. Valdez just had a no hitter. I don't know if he's coming around in form.
Well, Verlander's back.
He was
Verlander's back.
there.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Verlander's
He was
back.
basically loaned to the Mets.
Yeah.
He was on loan, and then
So I think
Yeah.
they'll be better and clean up the division. And then the Brewers, they're kind of even right now in that division with the Reds. I think
the Brewers end up.
the
winning
Brewers
it, though.
end up winning the division. The Reds kind of are this like streaky team,
Mhm.
and I think the Brewers will end up pulling it out. So
Yeah.
you can get plus 382 odds in it. Of course, for the betting segment, gamble responsibly. Don't bet money you don't have. 1-800-GAMBLER. We are all 21 and betting in the state of Pennsylvania, which is completely legal, and we're also from New Jersey, which is also legal.
Yes.
The Rutgers lacrosse team wins strange games. Please bet on the Rutgers lacrosse team.
Please don't bet on anything that you're not confident in. Anyone?
I don't think Rutgers has a lacrosse team.
I'm not sure either.
They probably do. It's Jersey.
Do we have anything else?
No.
No?
Drop a like, comment, subscribe. This has been the Washed Athlete Podcast. We will see you next time.